Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. Sorry the video is a little bit later, but life happens. So here's the final template for this month. This is the one that we're going to be using today. So you can pause here if you want to try and get the measurements. Um, it's going to be fun. I wind up changing it. You'll see here. Because as we start, I had it this way, where there were going to be three pieces from the side, one large piece, and then I would cut the two pieces up at the top. Well, when I went to measure the one that's 5 by 4 inches, it didn't really fit well on the front of the card. So I decided I was just going to cut the long piece in half at 3 1/4. I was still going to do this one with the 2 1/4 or 2.5 by 2.5 squares and just cutting them on the diagonal. But uh, I was deciding that for the 5 by 4 inch one, I would cut it the long ways, so it would be 2 by 5. And then on the other end, like I told you, instead of doing the three different pieces, I'm just going to do two and cut them at 3 1/4. So it'll wind up being 1.5 by 3 1/4 for each of those two pieces. So in the end, we'll still wind up with 8 cards. And sometimes stuff happens like that. When I first drew it, it made sense. I was good. And now when I actually go to put it together, I was like, yeah, no, not what I'm liking. So right here, I came back because I decided to put a mat under each of those pieces. Now for the 2.5 by 2.5 inch squares that we cut on a diagonal, I did make the mat 2 and 7, no, I was going to say 7/8, 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 and cut it on the diagonal. And by doing that, it creates a mat around those pieces. So here I brought out some doilies from my stash, and I'm only going to use them, I think, on 4 of the cards. And I wind up having to bring out this super thin foam tape that I have. It's funny because I'm all out of my big rolls, and I haven't had a chance to replenish. So I'm like looking for everything that I have in my stash to use it up. So I guess that's a good thing. Now on these two, I decided to use pieces from the collectibles, or like the ephemera pack. One I'm gluing straight down, the other I'm going to put on some of the foam. So it has a little bit of height and some interest. And then on the sentiment, I'm also using some of the foam tape. And then on this, I want to say, instead of using the glue, do I glue that one down? I think I used the foam tape on both of these. Yeah, because when you mat your paper, it does give it a little bit more dimension. So you may find, like, if you, depending on the thickness of your foam, you may only have to put the foam tape on one side and then regular tape on the other. Or you could do like this and put it all over the sentiment so that they both stand out. Okay, so on this one, you can see I'm going to be kind of messing with this one, trying to figure out where I want to put the foil. I didn't want to block it, but I knew I wanted to use it. So eventually here, I even try, you can see, I'm trying to fold it. It's not working. So when all this fills, just put it down. I knew I wanted it there. And then I was like, you know what? That's what I'll do. I'll put it on the side of the actual uh, ephemera piece that we were looking at. And then I'm using the foam to pop it up. And that gives it, the doily gives it a little bit of bling bling, but allows it to still, just be kind of simple. And then, of course, at the end, I'm going to pull out the Nouveau drops, and you'll see I use a green and the translucent. It's kind of like a pinkish color. It looks really nice. On some of the flowers, it's going to look like little dewdrops. It's really a pretty Nouveau drop. So same thing. I'm finally using that flower. I've been trying to use that flower from the collectibles since I opened the package, and I finally got to use it. So on here, I'm going to attach the foil and then go ahead and glue it down. Now, the next one I'm going to work on, a funny thing happens. I wind up putting it on upside down. I thought I had it set up because I had preset everything with how I wanted to lay it and where everything was going to go. And then after I lay everything down, you'll see I noticed that it's the wrong way. And I'm going to have to start taking it apart. Because at first I was going to just cut the top off and attach it to another card. And then I was like, no, I didn't really press it down, so maybe I'll be okay. It's right there. You see that? I just did it and it's upside down. So thankfully, because I didn't press too hard, I was able to pull it up without tearing and messing it up. How funny. So what I like about the green Nouveau drops is when you tap it, it flattens almost immediately. No matter how hard you hit it, I really like how it does that. I have noticed that the translucent ones, they don't tend to flatten as much. They really keep their shape. So just keep that in mind. I guess if you're wanting something to move and flatten like enamel dots, then I would look at more the crystal drops. Because this one, the jewel drops, I've noticed they hold their shape. Uh, Once you squeeze it out, the round shape that you create, even though, and I be tapping it just as hard as the other ones, it still stays in its form. But on this flower here, on this background, I just went through all the centers, and I'm putting the clear one on the centers to give it a little bit of dimension. And I like to change it up, because sometimes you want to do just a little bit, just the three, and call it a day. And then sometimes you want to do a little bit more. And then once I'm done here with this last one and the tapping, I knew I wanted to do a little bit of splatter this time. So I just grabbed out my yellow gold from the Ganzi Tambi Story Colors. And we're just going to do a light flickering. Now, okay, mistakes happen. Sometimes you get a large dot. If you do, just use your paper towel. It'll still have a little shiny spot. You're not going to be able to really get rid of that once it hits. I mean, it's there, but you can make it a little bit subtle. And I don't mind it. I'm not one that's like, oh my god, it's ruined. No, it's gold. It's supposed to be shiny. Let it be a splat. It doesn't matter. There's gold all over it now, so it's all good. It ties in together. And that's all we're doing. And I'm using my splatter cubby. And all I'm doing is each card, I'm trying to put it in the same location as the other one so I don't get gold all over the place. But you can see it's just a little subtle something to add a little bit of pizzazz to the cards. And you can see them better in the close-ups. Some of the gold splatter. It just gives it a little bit of something. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I will have links down below to the scrapbookingwithme.com and links to the Kaisercraft collections and this full bloom. And when you go, you can use my coupon code, which is TT15, to get an extra 15% off your purchase. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you have a great day.